Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we're going to be talking about walking in Burano. Don't forget to stay tuned to the very end for our pounds and inches update.
All right, so this is a game where you are trying to kind of set up your street. With Burano, you have different colored buildings. You're trying to attract, inhabitants and tourists to your area, to your street, so you get the most amount of victory points. But let's show you what it looks like. So here is the setup for walking in Burano. We've got 3 decks here. First floor, second floor, and third floor of these different buildings. Now they're all different colors. So what you do in your turn is you can take 1, 2, or 3 cards. And if you only take 1 card, you also get $2 as well. If you take 2 cards, you get $1. If you choose to take 3 cards, you get no money. You do need to take the cards either from the top or the bottom. You cannot just take cards from the middle. So for instance, if I wanted that middle blue card, I could take both of these and take $1 as well. But if I wanted just that middle blue card, I couldn't just take it without taking a card above it or below it. So the next thing I do is I add those cards to my hand. You have a hand limit of only 3 cards. So then you're going to want to start building your buildings up. You can build either 1, 2, or 3 cards at a time, but just like a real building, you have to build it from the ground floor up. Now you do have 2 kind of wild cards that you start with. The scaffolding, there's a ground floor and like a middle floor as well. So for instance, if we wanted to play the cards that we'd already acquired here, those 2 blue ones, we'd have to play ground floor, and then we could play our middle floor, and eventually our top roof there. Cards that you place in your buildings, you have to pay $1 for the first card you play, $2 for the second card you play, and $2 for the third card you play. So if you wanted to play 3 cards in total, it would cost you $5. Some other building rules you need to follow are all your buildings have to be next to each other. So you couldn't just have, let's say these were mine. I couldn't build this here. I'd have to build it directly adjacent to my building. Now, there are 2 more rules as well. However, these rules can kind of be broken. So the first rule is every building has to be the exact same color, top, middle, and bottom floor. So later on, if we got a blue card to place down here, great. And we can just fill that in, no problem. However, if for some reason we just could not find a blue card or someone kept on taking it away from us or whatever, we can choose to discard one of our rule-breaking tokens here. We have 4 of them to start the game with. We can choose to lose one of them, and then we can place any color building there we want. However, it would cost us that 3 victory points that are on the tokens. The other rule that you can break is every building has to have a separate color adjacent to it. So you can't have a blue next to a blue. Unless, again, you paid one of those tokens. Now, having the scaffolding there does not mean that building is complete. So let's say let's remove that. We replaced it with a real card. And because it's a different color, we did have to spend our token there. But because we spent it, we're able to do it now. Once you have a building complete with no scaffolding in it, you then get to draft one of the tourists or the inhabitants. So now the tourists are different people that are going to go at the bottom of your card there, and they say different things like, for every flower in the row directly above them, 1 point each. So that would be a great one for our person right here. We've got quite a number of flowers there. But there's other ones you can have as well. There's one that has to do with 3 points per cat. There's one that says 1 point per plants, and 2 points for all different things like streetlights, chimneys, the awnings, or cats. Instead of having one of the tourists, you can also get an inhabitant of the city. The inhabitants have different parameters. Like he says, having non-adjacent streetlights gets some extra points. Santa, obviously, he wants to have as many chimneys as possible, so he gets 3 points per chimney. So these ones do not have to do necessarily that one column up and down, but the entire of your buildings as a whole. The game is going to go until one person has built their entire street, which is 5 buildings long, 3 buildings tall. As soon as you've done that, and you have all 5 of your inhabitants or tourists at the below, the game goes until that current round finishes, so every player has the same amount of turns. At that point, you go to your scorecard, you score what all the different tourist inhabitants are, you score buildings, or score points based off of different shops that might give you points, how many of those rule-breaking tokens you have left, and you lose points if you're the person who has the most of those kind of X'd out windows. At the end of that, whoever has the most points wins.
I like how after you understand the game, the cards make sense, whereas the tourist cards or the inhabitants cards, you understand what they're going for. And the inhabitants cards, they even highlight the sections that they're talking about, telling you exactly what it is they're looking for, whether it's a cat or a flower, and only in these places. And I just really like how clear that is, and you're able to plan accordingly.
Yeah, I thought the set collection part of this game was very interesting. Usually you have one set of cards, they're all, let's say, hearts, and another part of the cards are all spades. You have to collect a certain amount of hearts or spades or whatever. But these were really interesting. They had cats and awnings and chimneys and people walking around. and they might have 2 or 3 of those different things all on the same card. You had to choose which one of the tourists made the most sense for you and your setup. That was a really interesting way of doing this deck collection.
This game also scales very well in different player count. I know in the 2-player game, they had an option, or not an option, they had a way to cycle through cards so you would see more that you would naturally see if you're playing at a higher player count. So it scaled really well.
Yeah, and this game was really pretty when it's all laid out too. So you have all those different, houses in front of you, all matching colors. It just looks really cool. All the, the way the inhabitants kind of tuck up against the streets there. It just looks like a really cool kind of a little, picture.
This game is not as light as I expected, and I think that worked in the game's favor. There's a lot of really light set collection or card games, and I think the fact that this one wasn't as light as I anticipated kind of put it in a different category.
I thought the ability to break the rules in this game was really interesting too. You have those kind of rule-breaking tiles. You have to spend those, which are points at the end of the game, in order to break these rules. But maybe I give you extra points since you did that. You'd be able to create a set that you wouldn't have been able to create otherwise, or you wouldn't have been able to complete a house. Let's say that someone else was racing to the end, and you just had to quick finish up something. That was a really cool way of doing that, having those ability to break those rules.
Okay, as I said, once you learn the game. My big gripe with this, and it could just be me, this could be a Bethany thing. I just want to put it out there. This could be me. Might have nothing to do with the game. I had such a hard time learning this. That first go around, I had no idea what was happening, why it was happening. It was hard for me to grasp the concept of building it. It was just really difficult the first time around. After I got it, I definitely got it, but it was a rough first game.
And that's probably my fault. I was the one teaching it, and I was having a hard time kind of figuring out the rule book. And I've read way heavier rule books than this, but I don't know if it's the way it was arranged, or the way my brain was interpreting it. I probably just did a bad job.
That is BS. Ryan's brilliant at teaching. It's like a gifting. And I'm not just saying that because I'm married to him. I'm like totally serious. If we had to homeschool our kids, he would be the one doing it because he's just really good at that. And then, so the other issue I have with this game, I'm afraid to play it. I'm undefeated. I don't want to break the streak.
It turns out I'm not that bad of a teacher after all, because she hasn't stopped beating me.
Or anybody.
Yeah. All right, thanks so much for watching, you guys. Feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews. We've got a lot of cool, fresh content coming out. I know that a lot of us are kind of cooped up right now because of the COVID-19 virus. So we've got a little extra time. We've been making a little extra content. And you guys probably have a little extra time to watch it too. So feel free to enjoy that. Subscribe so you don't miss out on any of that stuff. All right, so we're also on Facebook at Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews. We're on Instagram at Ryan and Bethany. And we are on Twitter at Ryan and Bethany 1. And be sure to stay tuned to the end of the episode for our Pounds and Inches update.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hi guys, thank you so much for tuning in to our Pounds and Inches update. And just so you know, you can always subscribe to our blog on Board Game Geek called Pounds and Inches, where we go more in depth what we're doing to try and achieve just better health or overall, or sometimes where we're failing.
All right, so we talked about a little earlier about the COVID-19 virus. There's a lot of people on lockdown, a lot of jobs that are, sending people home. We've got states that are shutting down. People are just spending more time at home right now than ever before. A lot of it's government mandated, in fact. Events are being canceled. But what's not being canceled? The outdoors. You still have the chance to go outside and get some fresh air, get some exercise in. Today, we snuck out of the house. We played disc golf, and it was just a ton of fun. The girls got to play on the playground. Obviously, you still want to be smart and you want to be safe, and you don't.
Yeah, this isn't the time for like a fun run of 500 people.
Right, but it is okay to go to a bike path and jog, or go play outdoors, and don't shake hands with people, or don't go where other people are.
You could probably go outside with the people that live with you, because it's not like you're practicing social distancing with them.
Yeah, well, like right now, for instance, I'm trying to be 6 feet away from Bethany. She's getting closer and closer. I'm thinking about getting a hazmat suit. I'm going to put a wall up around our bed.
It's pointless for you.
All right, so, yeah. That's the good news is the outdoors is not canceled, even though everything else seems to be. Get outside, have some fun. Tell us what kind of activities you're doing to stay busy during the COVID-19, and what kind of healthy activities you're doing as well.
Yeah. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.